This is possibly because a lot of the top players are Terrans, so in order to be able to be a top Terran, you have to be able to beat the other Terrans. Yes, that's getting a little repetitive, but who cares? But for one reason or another, it's the way it is. The drop has been cleaned up, the race got distracted, and now the barracks is forced to be destroyed on the ground. If it takes off, it won't be able to get out of range before the Goliaths destroy it completely. Sea.Leta is now pushing against an outnumbered force of Flashes, who gets just far enough to see a way to siege, but Sea.Leta walks right over it. If Flash can survive until this expansion kicks in, but he's forgotten it now, there's an SCV idle, then he'll be in a good position. Otherwise, Sea.Leta's just going to walk right over him. And Flash abandons this expansion, now that his other one is starting to be up, and splits his SCVs and sends the command center back. Where are the wraiths? I heard wraiths. There was a wraith. He sends his command center back to his old natural expansion. This is not standard play. Flash is playing mind games with people as usual, and it's sort of confusing me. I'm not very good at watching a minimap, so we'll see how this goes. Sea.Leta is taking his third expansion. Third base, second expansion, while retanking the natural expansion. And Flash is fighting it with SCVs, which is decidedly not standard. But Sea.Leta wasn't microing, and there are tanks on the low ground, so this attack is cleaned up very easily. Sea.Leta has another small force moving out, but this could be a turning point in the game if he doesn't do any damage here. It's doubtful whether he knows about Flash's third base yet. Let's see. No, he's never found Flash's third base. He's got an idle SCV waiting to scout to look for hidden expansions, but he's not doing it yet. So let's go back and look as they meet their encounter in the middle. Flash's army is even smaller than Sea.Leta's. But Sea.Leta has dropships and Flash only has one. Now Sea.Leta finds the base and decides to take it apart. Flash's command centers have been doing a lot of this lately. Flash counterattacks. He's Flash, he doesn't care. And destroys a couple tanks of Sea.Leta's. Now he's quickly destroying all the defense that Sea.Leta has. But he lost his third base. Sea.Leta's is still intact, briefly. Sea.Leta is forced to fight with SCVs. SCVs are baller, they can fight. But it's not advised. Sea.Leta is planning to drop Flash's main, but may have been spotted as there are Goliaths and tanks rolling over here. But no, he decides he'll just fake it. Let's look. Yes, tanks in the dropships, moving around. Sea.Leta's expansion is now sieged. Flash was going to move his command center back to this expansion, but it got destroyed by a Goliath. The dropships are now playing tag. Sea.Leta is taking a fourth base to replace the third that just got hammered, so it's really his substitute third base. They say Terran lacks in mobility, but once he gets into the mid-game, it's mostly a question of dropships. And dropships make an army very mobile. The only thing that makes it immobile is tanks. Siege tanks can't move. Sea.Leta is building turrets to scout for expansion attempts and other interesting things. Sea.Leta tried to transfer SCVs, but a lot of them got tanked. It wasn't an attack. Sea.Leta's forces setting up here. But Flash is now looking for the expansion and has found it. This is not going to be a long-lasting expansion. And these SCVs are in for a quick and painful death. Sea.Leta has dropships, so this attack may not succeed. But the SCVs didn't do very well. Flash's theory is that if it moves, it can be killed. And so far, it looks like he's right. He's pulling away. The dropships over here are full of troops though, so his expansion is going to be dropped again. He's got 3 bases mining and is putting up his 4th again. But his expansion is just getting tanked again, while he tanks Sea.Leta's. Sea.Leta has got a 4th base, an actual 4th base, running here with the command center from his original 3rd expansion. This is why I hate dropships. They can be all over the map. Sea.Leta's tanking here, tanking here. I mentioned it was tankable earlier. Flash is over here, ripping things apart. He's got another thing here. There's a single Goliath taking apart the wannabe expansion here. Flash hasn't really realized and is sending SCVs. There's more SCVs trying to mine here. A tank coming down to get rid of the Goliath. A command center floating down to who knows where, but not the expansion that just got tanked. This expansion is still almost full. That's how little mining has gotten done. Now Flash is attacking this expansion. It's hard to tell who's really winning. Flash actually has a slightly better economy, and his economy has been slightly more stable for the whole game, despite moving out and around of all these expansions forever. But he's quickly going to have a 3rd base mining to Sea.Leta's 2. Although Sea.Leta will quickly have a 3rd mining to match that, in theory. This base has been cleared of Sea.Leta's scouts and building command center. The tanks are still up on the ridge though. They can't get anywhere because of this crystal formation, which doesn't even have hit points, so it can't be killed. Flash is wandering around killing turrets. These 2 tanks are still sitting here. I'm not sure what they're hoping to achieve. They're outnumbered now. The command center, without anything better to do, is floating back. Sea.Leta is preparing to attack. You've got 130 supply that's got to be mostly SCVs for Flash. 120, a little behind for Sea.Leta. Sea.Leta's force is cut off and destroyed by Flash. The game is definitely in Flash's favor right now. He's forgotten about this command center again, and now he's just moving it. Here comes Flash's drop of doom, which should remove this expansion thoroughly and forever. And the turret. Flash has some defenses, but not sufficient. Sea.Leta is getting thoroughly crushed right now, except for this expansion. This command center will have to lift off again, and that will just be a problem. This is why I hate commentating on Terran versus Terran games. They just go on forever. Oh no, maybe it won't have to lift. Flash is trying to save it. Although he's losing dropships. But Sea.Leta's force is